Some, I think, may look back on Bitcoin and find that it was the Napster of digital assets.
This technology can be very important.
Government stepped in and Napster was not successful, but Spotify, iTunes, Pandora, they were very successful.
Means every stock, every bond will have its own basically CUSIP. Everything of value in the world will eventually be a token. We could rid ourselves of all issues around illicit activities around bonds and stocks and digital.
For the foreseeable future, I think there'll be complete coexistence.
It will create massive wealth, the greatest wealth creation opportunity I'm going to see in my lifetime.
The hottest crypto trade of the year is not Bitcoin, it is not Ether, it is XRP, the coin formerly known as Ripple, soaring more than 20% this year, becoming the third largest cryptocurrency out there, and there's big money behind this trade.
We have one of the biggest news networks in the world calling XRP the trade of the year. And this comes after pretty much a decade plus of mainstream news media calling cryptocurrency a scam.
Because a lot of people are in crypto, and crypto really does seem to be imploding. But it goes from 3 trillion to 1 trillion. Why should it stop at 1 trillion? There's no real value there. But I would not touch crypto in a million years. And I think that everybody who owns these various coins, Solana, Litecoin, I do think you're an idiot. Okay? I did not go to college to get stupid. These people who own these things should not own them.
It's not a currency. It's not an asset value. It's not a it's not a medium of exchange.
So what is it?
It's a bubble.
I will say we are seriously skeptical as well. That's why I asked the Visa CEO that question, which brought that response. And yet, people continue to trade in Bitcoin.
They're fools.
What should the government do with something like this that's technologically advanced, has a lot of backers, but is difficult to regulate?
No, it's not there's nothing technology about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a pretend currency. What should the government do? You can't legislate stupid.
Oh, how the tables have turned. Before they were talking about crypto, now they talking bad about crypto. Now crypto is everywhere. They're talking about crypto everywhere. So that was the CEO of Visa, but let's take a look at MasterCard. You can see here, MasterCard's site, they're talking about crypto. They weren't talking about it before. Now, mind you, these people were talking against crypto, but in the background, they were buying crypto and they were building out the infrastructure for crypto. Connecting crypto to fiat commerce. The wild ride of crypto may be the financial story of the early 21st century, but mainstreaming cryptocurrencies beyond investing has proven elusive. The last year and a half brought regulatory clarity in the US and Europe over stablecoins. So right now, they're talking about the Clarity Act bill. We passed the Genius Act bill. That was for stablecoins. Now they're working on the Clarity Act bill with the markup to be voted upon on January 15th. I follow Senate and I follow the House when it comes to the crypto bills. It's important for us to know what's going on because that's the only way you're going to be able to protect yourself against what they're trying to do or what they could do. During Biden's presidency, you had a lot of people attacking crypto. They sued Ripple. They sued a lot of other companies. Like they were suing people left and right. Some were much needed, like FTX, but some they were trying to work with the SEC, and SEC was suing them. Gary Gensler, we talked about in the past. I'm so glad he's gone. Paul Atkins has been doing a phenomenal job having clear rules of the road for crypto. So, but we still have to be diligent. We have to pay attention to what's going on because they can slip something in these bills that's not going to be for us. For one, they're talking about yield on stable coins. So right now, let me show you. Right now, you get, come on, focus. There you go. Boom. Right now, you get 3.50% APY for USD, or you can lend it out as well, and you get 5%. 5.63%. I'm gonna show you how I look things up. If you don't know, a stablecoin is a type of cryptocurrency designed to stay stable in value instead of fluctuating wildly like Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it stays at the dollar mark. That was Keith D's channel. That video that I just showed you guys. Check him out. He has a lot of good information. But he says the same thing. We have to know what's going on. Otherwise, you can get hurt by what they're establishing, which is what happened with us when they did the Federal Reserve Act. So when they established the Federal Reserve Act in 1913, they created central banks, and the central banks has full autonomy over our money and the movement of the money. They created all the systems. I learned about the BIS. I learned about the SWIFT system. All this all these institutions are responsible for the movement of money all around the world. But we have to look this stuff up because, like I said, it could hurt all of us. Let's talk about the blockchain. The crypto was built on the blockchain. The blockchain is tech that you can build upon. So the blockchain is a shared digital ledger that records transactions in a way that is transparent, tamper resistant, and not controlled by any single authority like the central banks have right now with us. Think of it as a global spreadsheet that everyone can see, anyone can verify, but no one can secretly change. Plain English definition: a blockchain is a database distributed across many computers where records are grouped into blocks, and each block is cryptographically linked to the previous one. Once data is written, it's extremely difficult to alter. How much has the dollar eroded since its inception? Since 1913, when modern inflation tracking began and the Federal Reserve was formed, the US dollar has lost around 96 to 97% of its purchasing power. $1 in 1913 buys roughly $30 to $32 worth of stuff today. What erosion really means? When we say the dollar has lost value, we're talking about purchasing power, what you can actually buy with the dollar. If something costs $1 in 1913, the same thing would cost roughly $30 today, $30+ today. That doesn't mean the dollar has become worthless. It still buys goods and services, but over decades and centuries, inflation steadily raises prices so each dollar doesn't stretch as far. The long-term decline is primarily due to inflation, a general rise in prices over time, which steadily reduces how much goods and services a dollar can purchase. So it's pretty much like a hidden tax that we've been paying because of inflation. How much do you have to make every year to beat inflation? So, to beat inflation, your annual raise, business growth, or investment return must be higher than inflation. Formula: real gain equals your growth rate minus inflation rate. If inflation is 3%, your income grows 5%. You're beating inflation by 2%. But whose annual raise grows by 5% every year? The banks are not for us at all. They're against us. I'm going to show you here. Why don't the banks want us to make yield off stablecoins? Short answer: because stablecoin yield threatens the banking business model at its core. Banks make money with your money. Say that again. Banks make money with your money. When you deposit cash in a bank, you earn 0 to 0.5% in a bank. Very different than how it was before. Even when I was growing up, we had a little bit more percentage. The bank lends, invests, or parks it at the Fed. They earn 4 to 6% plus. They keep the spread. The spread is one of the bank's main profit engines. If you earn yield directly on stablecoins, the bank loses its cut. Stablecoin yield cuts banks out completely. With stablecoins, you hold the asset yourself, self-custody. You can earn 3 to 10% plus on-chain. There's many different ways to make money holding a stablecoin on-chain. There's many different platforms in the crypto industry. Many different This industry has been growing since 2009. No bank balance sheet involved, no branch, no teller, no middleman. This breaks the model where your money becomes their asset. Banks don't like systems that they can't control. Deposits are power. Bank deposits are not just money, they are leverage, liquidity, political influence, regulatory privilege. If deposits leave, banks must shrink lending. Their balance sheets weaken, their systemic importance declines. Stablecoins equal deposit flight risk. Regulation is the pressure point. Banks can't easily compete on yield because capital requirements, liquidity ratios, stress tests, compliance costs. Instead of competing, they often lobby to restrict stablecoin yield, which they're doing now. They're trying to do. Push consumer protection narratives, frame self-custody as dangerous. They don't want you holding your own assets. They want to hold your assets because they have control. If they hold your assets, they can make money off your assets. This is why it's important for us to know and be educated on money, the money system. You can't be blind to this. If you're blind to it, you're only hurting yourself and you're hurting your family that comes after you, like how the 1913 Federal Act did for us. The people weren't paying attention. They passed the Fed Reserve Act, and now because of that, we suffer because of that. We don't make interest on our money because of that. Yield exposes an uncomfortable truth. Stablecoin yield makes people ask, why has my bank been paying me nothing? Once that question is asked, the illusion breaks. There's not enough of us asking this question because enough of us don't know what's going on in crypto. You've been hearing from that first video that I played that crypto is bad. Crypto, if you invest in it, you're stupid. JP Morgan said if he finds out any of his people were investing in Bitcoin, he would fire them. So all this was said before to keep you out of crypto and to keep you scared of crypto because it's dangerous. But really, it will free you to own crypto and hold stable coins, especially if you go deeper into DeFi, decentralized finance. And you can do a lot of different things with your money then. It's not just banks, it's the system. Governments rely on banks to transmit money, transmit monetary policy, control capital flows, enforce sanction, monitor citizens' finances. Stablecoins with yield bypass policy levers, move globally instantly, set market-based interest rates. That's harder to control. The irony, banks already use stablecoins behind the scenes, access Fed interest directly, earn yield on reserves. They just don't want you doing it. One sentence truth. Banks don't want you earning yield on stablecoins because it removes their monopoly on interest, deposits, and monetary control. Where this is heading. Banks will try to issue their own stablecoins, which JP Morgan has already done. Let's go to JP Morgan. JP Morgan. First bank issues USD deposit token on a public blockchain. This was in November 12, 2025. Following a successful proof of concept of JPMD, the JPM Coin USD deposit token is now available for JP Morgan's institutional clients to move money quickly, easily, and securely on-chain. See, first, it starts with the institutions. They haven't made anything for retail yet, and now they're still waiting for that bill to be passed. But it all starts with the institutions. They get the institutions on board so that institutions can profit off of it. Then they're going to get everybody, the retailers, not to profit, to use their crypto token. So look at this. Wyoming launches first U.S. state-issued stablecoin on Solana. The Solana is a network. Look at this. Amazon Web Services and Ripple discussing Amazon Bedrock for the XRPL. So Amazon is now, the overview of this video, XRPL runs on high performance C++ code, a powerful programming language. At scale, C++ systems produce large volumes of cryptic logs, history. AWS partners with Ripple using Amazon Bedrock, a platform that hosts artificial intelligence agents. That's something new too. To help source the right logs and to understand systems behavior, reducing time constraints from approximately 2 to 3 days down to 2 to 3 minutes, thus reducing the burden of Ripple engineers. This will enable seamless deployment when the new system is eventually implemented. The new system is going to be implemented. It's already in the works. They've been building their systems in the background. The systems they built are not meant to help you. They're going to keep you in chains again.
Is this just another piece of this elaborate cryptocurrency scam designed to take money away from retail investors? I broke all of this down to share with you why crypto exists and to explain why people are investing in crypto, but the real question is whether or not it's a scam. Here's what I'll ask you back. Is the current central bank fiat money US dollar system a scam? Isn't that designed to steal from you while you sleep? Central banks print money digitally as they please. None of that money is scarce, and in fact, it can be created at the direction of central bank board members who are not elected officials. The value of fiat money in the central banking system only ever goes down in value as they print more and more. Bitcoin is provably scarce, and since its inception, over time, has only gone up. But you also have to understand that the price of Bitcoin going up doesn't necessarily mean that the price of it's going up. It's simply measuring the collapse in the value of the US dollar. The price of a home is always going up in terms of the US dollar, but you've only needed fewer and fewer Bitcoin to buy a home over time, and that's a measure of real value. So the next time you ask if Bitcoin is a scam, ask yourself whether or not the system you live in today is a scam. What if the banks and the mainstream news telling you to stay away from crypto while they built out all of the infrastructure that they would use to offer it right back to you in the end? What if that was a scam? And then when it comes to Ripple and XRP, all over the front page news now, ask yourself whether or not this might be the central banking system's desperate attempt to claw back power from a decentralized system that they have no control over, like Bitcoin. And then ask yourself this: when has the central bank ever, throughout all of history, failed to maintain its power? And what would it mean if they did?
If there's anything else you want me to explain better, if I lost you anywhere, please let me know in the comments. And we're going to keep this going. Like I said, we're going to be consistent, and we're going to keep giving you the information so that just in case you're not paying attention to it, hopefully you can come here and you get some information here.
Let's ride.